Hello YouTube, this is Nite Misfortune bringing you a replay from, of course, the Supreme Commander 2 game. As always, my apologies, it feels like forever. It has been forever since the last time I've done this. A lot of things have happened, I switched jobs, you know, different things, and also the coronavirus was finally starting to get to me and just completely lost the motivation to do anything. So I did see that we reached 80 subscribers, so thank you guys for that very much. Thank you for watching. If you're here, please obviously leave a comment down below telling me what you think about this video, and also a like and a subscribe. Of course, always helps. My goal is to reach 100 subscribers before the tournament, which of course has been announced on the Discord server, and also well, I guess on my channel now, and on Mr. Steele's channel. Check his YouTube channel out as well if you haven't so already. An amazing caster and a good friend of mine, and hopefully he will make it for the tournament in June. So, July rather, July 25th and 26th. Registration will open up. I still haven't decided if I want to do it next week or this week, but there is a trailer that I made for that event, so hopefully there will be a little link in the doobly-doobs and also in the top right hand side of the screen here. But anyway, I haven't casted in a while, so I wanted to bring you a few matches. I picked three, three matches from the last month and a half, I think is the last time I've made a cast. So I do apologize once again, but I'm going to try and make up a little bit for that. I'm not going to show the results like I usually do, you know, the league standings, until the last one that I make, so that'll be 3 videos from now. But let's go ahead and jump. We're going to start with a match between Valor and JP Smith. This is a round 6 match on Etched Desert, so there's, you know, mixed feelings about this map, and I really want to know what you feel about this map also. So again, post in the comments down below. But I quite like it. I think, you know, obviously air is strong in this map, but let's take a look here. So pick wise and ban wise, it's pretty even, you know, 39% picked, 49% banned, so you know, fairly standard. I think given that it's an air map, a lot of people do prefer to play that more of a standard game, so they don't tend to pick this one, unfortunately. And the win rate is actually fairly strange in my opinion. So we have 30% win rate, or sorry, no, this is a pick rate, sorry, my bad. Pick rate are 30, 17, and 50, which is, you know, fairly actually predictable. So let's take a look at the win rates, and oh my goodness, Aeon is just hitting it out of the park. Roughly 30% for both Cybran and UEF, and 90% from Aeon. And that's not just, there's nine games, yeah, that they won. Holy crap. Well, anyway, so you know, this is a Cybran mirror, as we'll see here in just a bit. But you know, I really, you know, it's hard to ignore stats like that, but it's also hard for me to believe that Aeon is that much better on this map than both Cybran and UEF. So we'll take a look, we'll keep trying, but it doesn't look good for Etched Desert. Anyway, pause at 5 seconds as always. Let's go ahead and jump to this game. I think this intro has been long enough, so let's go ahead and pause in 3, 2, 1, play. And let's start with our player to the right hand side, our purple Cybran commander. We have somebody that we haven't seen before. It's Valor, a good friend of mine on the Steam communities, and he's starting out with 2 research factories and 1 land factory. So generally not the best of starts, but since he is getting that research, he might be able to get you know, going a little bit faster with his, you know, maybe a turtle or something like that. Let's see who he's playing on the left hand side. His opponent, also a Cybran, like I mentioned before. It is JP Smith, plopping down 2 air factories, a little bit more of a standard opening on this map. I believe both of these players, yeah, they didn't go random. They both picked Cybran. So, and both of these players have a very similar win-loss rate, so they win about 30% of their matches, and both of them, I believe, are in towards the lower part of the table. But to be completely honest, when I show you the table, and you guys have seen it in the past, I'm gonna speed up the game here a little bit. It is a completely stacked tournament. It's been so great, especially towards the top. There's just been competition incredible, and even on the bottom, just throughout the table, is just stratified, where if you win one game you can go up, if you lose you can obviously go down quite a bit. So it's been a very spectacular season, and all of these players have continued playing, and I'm very, very thankful to them for doing so, because last season, as you know, we had a few dropping out. This season it's been fairly good. We had most of our matches played. There's been a week or two where it's been a dip, but so far it's just amazing matches. I wish I casted more, because these matches also are definitely worth it. And it's a different type of perspective when you have air. I think it's a very different dynamic, and that was intentional from my end, is to see what air maps can we have, what can we push on the map pool rather than the standard open palms and what do you call it, Arctic Refuge and maybe Powderhorn Mesa or whatever maps are very, very common right now, as we do see that first mass extractors do go down to a very good move by JP Smith here, moving out with his air. And I imagine Valor is going to be going adapters here. I mean, he has plenty of research. These bots, however, are not going to do much unless JP does not manage to find them, but his plane somehow managed to fly directly. Well, actually, I don't think he's caught it. If he was paying attention, I think his radar would have covered it just enough. And Valor is actually doing a pretty decent job here, moving his bots. This map is not small, so if he manages to go undetected, there's no radar over here. The closest one is here, but I believe these bots might be just out of range here. Let me see what he's doing here. It looks like he has seen those bots in the top, so he's going to be sending those. But those bots on the bottom are quite a bit away, and Valor is just not getting any anti-air, so this is very curious. Okay, he's going megaliths. But on a map such as this, it is very, very hard to justify megaliths, because your opponent is almost always going to open up with air. If you are opening up with something else and getting to megaliths eventually in late game, this is definitely still early game. This is what you would consider to be a megalith rush, because at 7 minutes is generally considered to be the fastest that you can get a factory. Actually, no, I think you can have a megalith by 7th minute if you change up your build a little bit. And this is definitely a little bit more of a riskier build, and these planes are going to continue amassing, but Valor is managing to take out a lot of these, or starting to take out some of these mass extractors over here. So that's definitely a good move, but unfortunately the trade-off to that C1 bombing run without even a spread does end up taking off that incursion. But one mass extractor for 3 bots is actually pretty good. Now he does need quite a bit anti-air here. I'm not sure why he's just spreading out so much. That is not going to be good, because his opponent will utilize his air advantage, or should utilize his air advantage. And that's one thing that I keep harping on in these replays, is especially right here, there's no reason for your planes to sit in the back. He has seen that his opponent has nothing from his airplanes. He's just basically stacking them over here. So it's much better to just send all of them, or even split them apart, and start bombarding all this mass, which is basically free for taking. Valor has not taken any care to protect his investment there, and that's quite a sizable investment. He has so many mass extractors, but of course at this point an anti-air tower will not do enough. Let's actually speed this up, because this will most likely end in Valor pushing out, and it's gonna come down to, if these planes can break through the shields, he should be pushing out with his commander as well. That is not the correct choice there, Valor. So if you do end up finding yourself in this position, maybe you've lost air as well. If you end up, here's a snipe coming, and at this point you really should be moving out with your, ooh, Okay, let's slow it down here. So Valor has gotten Honker, and that was a failed snipe attempt, ladies and gentlemen. That is definitely not how you do it. That I've seen so many times people struggle with this. I've played against some people, and I think if you're watching, they know who they are, who had so many failed attempts against Cybran. That is, you have to be 100% sure with Cybran that you're gonna do it. You're gonna manage to get the snipe, because if you don't do it in once pass, basically these shields are gonna hold. If they're holding, they're gonna hold. So you have to be 100% sure, and now this game has turned quite a bit upside down. We see Valor now starting to bombard everywhere. This engineer is going to go down in the bottom left, but there is another engagement. Valor is actually doing a very nice job trying to pull those planes, but JP is saying no thank you to that, and he is going to pull around, and he really should be looking for targets to bombard at this point. There's just mass extractors everywhere that he definitely could be taking out, but this push right here, the megaliths coming down straight down for the center base of JP Smith here, is definitely very, very concerning. I do not see his commander. His commander has managed to make it down here. There's another snipe attempt here, as there's so much mass. I'm really hoping that Valor starts reclaiming some of this mass, and at this point he can honestly start getting bomb bouncers, which at this point the Cybran that has gotten to this point with all this research is certainly ahead, and these planes are just either unnoticed, or JP Smith is just not utilizing his air to his advantage here. He definitely still has an advantage, and he should be using these planes to fly around everywhere looking for targets, and he knows where these planes are coming from. That is a lot of air. A lot of air. Now unfortunately JP Smith's base has completely gone down, and at this point it's just a matter of finding his commander, because Valor has amassed a critical number of adapters, and even without that, he has managed to take out quite a considerable portion of his opponent's production, and so the planes will simply not be able to keep up with the adapter count. So at this point, it really is, this game has turned quite a bit upside down. I was not expecting Valor to turn this around, but just it goes back to everything that I've been saying this whole entire season. You have to use your air, especially in situations like this. I would advise these players, JP Smith, to go take a look at Fox Tremellin's play. Just simply amazing, as there's another engagement here. Simply amazing use of his air. Of course, he can improve, even I've seen him kind of slacking on that. But in general, his air movement is pretty good. And on smaller maps like QAI Labs, QAI Labs can be considered small. It's a bit harder to get to those hard targets, but that's exactly where you want to move it even more. So we see here JP Smith slowly going down. I'm going to just speed it up to 10. The second map will be Iskellian Coast. Now, Iskellian Coast is a little weird. It actually was removed from the map pool, but since it was round 6, they still could play on this map. So Iskellian Coast is pretty I would say standard. It was the most popular map in this season. So you will see how these players in particular handle that. So JP Smith does end up control keying there, and we're gonna go to game 2, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. I don't know why I said hello, but you know, it's always nice that you stick around for the next game, I suppose. Welcome to Iskellian Coast, one of the maps that I have very, very high hopes for, but honestly it doesn't look great for this one either. So we did have quite a bit of matches being played on this map. It's being picked roughly 47% of the time, 46.5%, and abandoned 22%. But again, I think that's a factor more of the map pool in particular, because pretty much every other map is an air map, and you can argue that this map is an air map as well. But regardless, we have Let me see, I didn't highlight this, so I have to look for it. We have a 19% pick for UEF, 19 for Cybran, 44 for Aeon, and 12 or 13 for Random. We see quite a bit of that here. And for win percentages, it is a little, I want to say a little more even. So we have 14 and 16 for, nope, just kidding, that is terrible. 100% for Aeon. So Aeon has been very much king of this season, and maybe that speaks to, you know, the air. Air is obviously very, very strong for Aeon, but so is Cybran's air. I mean, we've seen on maps like Emerald Crater, Cybran is the king of air on that map. So must be something like little differences here and there. So it'll be really interesting to see. I'm definitely going to throw in some of these maps into some of the tournaments coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how it works in tournament play. So let's go ahead and jump into the game and pause at 5 seconds. I'm pausing in 3, 2, 1, play. Let's introduce our player on the right hand side. Once again, we have our purple Cybran commander, starting out with a 3-factory rush, most likely. Although these days it's not really even a rush anymore, it's just a 3-fac play meta. We have our purple Cybran commander, Valor. Valor is a good player. It's definitely a newer player, but he has, you know, he has decent amount of points. You could be doing worse, especially with players such as these. So definitely a very, very good player. With high potential. And we have on the left hand side, we have UEF this time, our UEF commander in blue, JP Smith, and that's actually what I see him play most of the time. Little did you know, you might have not known this, but JP actually played in the Serpents Open Winter. Did not have much luck, but I believe, was it his group? His group, I believe, was the group of death of that tournament, and it was really interesting because he caused one particular player. Was it maxing? It was somebody really good that he was able to pick up a game against and cause them not to advance, and it was such a close thing between the top 3, and it was incredible watching that. So this map is a little different. Both of these players are not starting with air. You can, of course, start with air on this, and it is a really a big rarity not to see Aeon on this map, because of course Aeon can teleport around these structures really easily. But my theory is that rushes are pretty good on this map, unless your opponent takes time and walls off this area. But in that case, you know, as a Cybran player, you can really counteract the teleport play with obviously structure detonate. So it's interesting to see. There's a point defense coming down here to try and protect from this early push, although at this point it's not really early, and I'm again a little bit lost to tell what Valor has been doing with his early, you know, opening. He's gotten 3 factories, but he has basically almost the same number of units as his opponent. So I believe these factories might not have been producing because he did actually get some mass extractors as well, because I don't think you can afford another mass extractor early on. So he is pushing out with his commander, so that is definitely a good thing, but this point defense is just going to be simply way too strong, so maybe he will choose to go around it. That would actually be a very smart choice. This fortification here is not well positioned. He can just duck around here, and of course his speed will allow him to get away, and especially because there's now a naval factory over here, there isn't a whole lot to catch up to with this army. There's a demolisher firing off a shot, so he is on. JP Smith is on the way to Fat Boys. However, Valor does have artillery of his own, but it's not having as much of luck, and you see the importance of micro there. Although, as I say that, of course, JP takes two shells to the face, and we see him utilizing ground fire as well, which makes me say, and I said this before, JP Smith is actually kind of like a hidden sleeper in this tournament. I feel like he has these moves that I constantly see in his replays that I'm just like, wow, that's not something I expect from somebody that, you know, is not performing as well. But he actually is very, very convincing. He can be very convincing, and I think it just comes down ultimately to one or two mistakes for these players. And similar for Valor too. I think fundamentals are there. Fundamentals are definitely there. Valor, look at this. This is crazy. And I don't know if this is an accident that this is happening. And unfortunately, I think he's going to die here to that Demolisher shell. But he is choosing a kind of the right choice against this slow naval play, although JP also not really continued with that play. But that's what you kind of want to do, especially with such a fortified enemy with demolishers. You know, you want to run around them and do exactly what Valor is doing, and that's actually very, very great. Oftentimes, you know, we see meta turn into you know, this standoff rather in the center of the map between artillery pieces, which, I mean, it generally is, there's nothing wrong with that, but I think there's a whole room, a lot of room for, oh my goodness, that's a lot of shells. I feel like that, yeah, that's very, very poor micro on Valor's part. But that it opens up so much ability to improve when you start microing around. Obviously in this map it's a little harder to do so because there's this bridge, you can't simply run around your opponent as easily. And look at that, ground fire from JP Smith, just wonderful. Like, that is exactly what you want to do on this map against your opponent, and that is very, very good for him. Valor is spreading to the top. I'm not sure why Valor is not taking out these mass extractors. That would definitely be good for him. He's building a naval factory. That is not the best of choices, but it looks like he's gonna, wow. Stuff should not be dying to Cobras. I will say that's one thing that I think both of these players can improve on is map awareness. Now, if Valor does end up getting legs here, that could actually be good, because that would be very, very hard to deal with here in the back. But the problem is for Valor is that there's a lot of P shields coming his way, and he's lost a lot of his army. One thing that is going for him is he does have quite a bit of mobile missile launchers, so they will be able to help with those shields. But unfortunately, I don't think he's ready to take on this army now. He should not be engaging with this army now, but he is doing sort of the right thing. He is meeting his opponent halfway and try to slow him down as much as possible, because of course he does have those Brackmen, which are very, very useful. Now JP is trying to ground fire, I think, still. Oh wow, that was another really good shot. And at this point, yes, Valor is definitely going to fall here. Great effort by Valor, I gotta say. Like, again, there's obviously these players don't have the control and awareness that a top player does, but the choices they make and could just kind of, and I don't know if they're doing this, you know, because they know, like, obviously that's what you need to be doing. If they have experience, they know that's exactly what you need to do, or if it's kind of like on accident that they pull off some of these moves. But I'm very impressed with both of these players, and I don't, what was that? That was a premature structure detonate, and of course here we're just gonna end up watching Valor survive for a little bit. I'm not sure if JP ever caught his commander going back there, but yeah, there's planes now, which will be able to help a little bit with those boats, but not if you fly just two of them directly at it. That's not gonna help. But yeah, this game is probably gonna go on for a little while. I guess let me talk a little bit more about the series. I feel like there's a little bit of confusion in what exactly it is. I mean, there's a video that I put out that kind of explains the process. Of course, we're gonna have the upcoming tournament, which stay tuned, you will be able to register for it pretty soon. You know, there's the whole idea is to qualify for the end of the year tournament, where, you know, the best of the best will compete for a trophy. By the way, we never had a trophy for a Supreme Commander 2 tournament, so obviously that is a very, you know, big thing, at least for me. So yeah, so that's the whole idea, is to get this elite tournament in the end of the year where the best of the best compete. I'm sorry I bumped my mic there. And so far, that's basically what they're doing here. They're trying to earn points in these leagues and in these tournaments to go to that final invitational. So yeah, that's what it is. So stay on the lookout. Anything that I post will be an SCS event or give you points to go there. So I really highly encourage you guys to check that out and participate in some of these events. And even if you're not going to qualify, I think this is a great experience. I think both of these players probably learned a lot. I mean, Valor was just starting out before this season, and I think he's improved quite a bit even as a new player. So definitely perks there. Now let us take a look at the league table. I'm gonna have to actually scroll down a bit here. Oh no, I'm not gonna look at the league table because I have two other replays to show you. So I will hold off on doing that. But for now, I will thank you guys for watching. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And I will see you in a video very, very soon. Have a nice day.